just try to imitate it and do a bad job.
We're rolling.
Oh,
Right.
that's going in the bloopers.
Our whole thing is a blooper.
Yeah.
All this is one giant blooper.
This is going to be a fucking blooper.
Which is a perfect lead-in to Godzilla vs. Kong.
Welcome to Movies Are Deep. Today we discuss Godzilla v Kong. Or is it Kong v Godzilla?
It's Godzilla v. Kong.
Godzilla vs.
Yeah.
Kong.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Okay, I'm done.
So yeah.
We'll
do a little time to talk about initial impressions.
Okay. My first thought when watching this was less than 10 minutes in.
Okay.
And they already made a shit joke. And
Yeah.
I like, well, that does not bode well for the rest of this movie.
A shit joke or a shit joke?
No, like a shit joke, like toilet humor.
Okay.
Yeah. Is this when the guy from Atlanta, Brian Tyree Henry, is this something with him? Yeah. Okay, I'm remembering.
You're
now.
remembering now?
Yeah.
Good.
The scene took place in Pensacola, Florida. It's homegrown.
Which that is
Wow.
believable.
Yeah.
Wow.
I hope that if a kaiju is going to attack
Florida.
any part of the United States, Pensacola is high on that kaiju's list. Yeah, so I guess I'm going to address something up front because
Go for it.
because
Let's
a lot
go.
of people say this whole thing about, well, it's not supposed to be smart and it doesn't need to be cinema. It's just a giant lizard fight a giant monkey, right? If I had a drink every time I read the phrase online about this movie, it's a giant lizard versus a giant monkey, and that's cool. Like,
What do you expect?
I would drink about as much as I normally do. And and that's too much. And the thing is,
It's really funny.
the thing is, like, they're right. Like, that is kind of like you want to see some monsters fight. Mm-hmm. And that's like something that's cool in a
fucking
movie.
love that. I love
Yeah.
seeing big monsters. I love King Kong.
Yeah.
I love Godzilla. If this movie just would have been that, I would have loved it.
Yeah.
I will get to that.
This
I have,
loved it.
I have a thought on
It's
that.
like I think in some ways maybe people don't like that as much as they want because like you can only do.
Remember what we talked about with the coasters and everything?
We thought the coasters
purpose
were gonna-
of the coaster is to not make noise.
It got stuck on the drink.
Well, stop making it
Right.
get stuck on a drink.
It's
We
the
got it.
condensation.
But the thing with that is like you would actually get bored if you watched like 2 hours of just these monsters
Yeah,
fighting because
totally.
their like skill set is
Well, that's
not.
because it doesn't make a good
Which
movie.
is why
Yeah.
I say, look, we might as well get this out of the way. If I was in charge of Warner Brothers,
Yeah, okay.
I would say,
In a
you know
perfect
what?
world.
Here is enough money to make a 40-minute short film of two monsters just beating the
Yeah.
shit out of
Yeah.
each other. You don't need like the build-up or anything. Just like here's 40. Go make a
Yeah.
40-minute
Yeah.
short film. Put it on IMAX. You will
either
still
do-
make bank, and
Yeah.
Yes.
you will save money.
You either do that or you do like Jack Black's King Kong, where you focus really heavily on the characters and their storylines, and you kind
Yeah,
of
and then you got to do a good job with them, right? Because that's the
Yeah.
problem with like 2014 Godzilla, which I think I'm the only one here who's seen the
No, I've
rest
seen
of them.
20.
Okay,
I've seen
yeah.
the majority of these
Yeah,
movies.
2014 Godzilla had that problem where they were like, okay, we're going to focus on the characters and make it a character-driven story, but then they didn't do a great job with the characters.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think that this movie, like, really what it is missing is stakes. It's like, you're happy to watch these kaijus fight, but you want to feel like there's a reason, right? And I think to me, like, ultimately what the movie lacks is, like, stakes, right? Like,
Yeah, well,
I don't care who wins. I don't care what the impacts
Oh, I did.
are.
I was rooting for Monkey.
Yeah, they
You
really tried to
mean
make you
Kong?
root for Kong.
Yeah.
But like
Big
But
Monkey.
they also made Kong into this like doofy like
yeah.
from the initial
Yeah.
like imagery of Kong.
It's the same opening as Shrek.
It's
Yeah.
what the
Yeah.
It fucking took me. I was like, what? Why are they making Kong look so dumb and
Yeah.
like douchey?
Well, this is
Yeah.
the first Kong that's ever spoken sign language.
But he doesn't.
Yeah. I was frustrated. This
The
movie seemed
music
to
and
have
him
He
leaked
can only
out.
say one
What?
thing, though.
What?
He can only say home, but he understands
Well,
sign language
and
other than
kind
that.
of like okay, like doesn't he like he kind of like agrees to things like because they signed to him like Godzilla is not the enemy and he says okay, but it seems weird because like why wouldn't they have told him that in the first place?
They didn't
like
know.
before they just like let him loose on,
The little girl told him.
but not before he like they had already
shit beat
leveled
out of
half
him.
of Hong Kong.
Yeah. Hong Kong.
Well, I mean, at
looked
that point, he
dope.
was still the enemy.
Yeah, it did look
This
good.
looks like Hong Kong. That's where you got the lighting. There you
Yeah,
go.
I guess you're
The
right.
lighting is Hong Kong.
Cool.
Skarsgård.
God, I'm
You did
honored.
it. You did it.
Thank you.
Skarsgård.
This
did
is the
think-
first time I've ever actually lit a scene, guys. I think I said in the last episode that I was working on lighting. Now I'm putting that into practice, and isn't it
beautiful.
friggin' sweet?
Yeah.
Thank you. That means a lot. I
Alright.
texted my main cinematographer about this. Shout out to James, and he said it looked good. And I love your compliment, but his approval means even more.
It means more than anything because James is
Badass.
incredible. He's
Um,
incredible.
So yeah, we can just get into the questions. I think.
Okay.
Do you want to start with Tristan, a directorial?
Yeah,
Let's start with positive. We had a lot of kind of negative there, but let's start with some positive.
Okay, I will. I have some stuff
directorial
for that.
decision you liked positive wise.
Well, it's not a directorial decision, but I want to say right off the bat, only 40 minutes until Kong actually has his first fight with Godzilla. I thought we would be like near the end before they actually fought anything, so that was a pleasant surprise.
Cool.
I liked that.
Okay.
And also, I was like, I didn't expect, other than like really good CGI, I didn't expect too many like technical achievements with this movie. But the lighting in it was really friggin'
It was
good.
really good.
I'm not just talking about the Hong Kong scenes.
Yeah, no,
I'm
the
talking
rest of
about
it.
like the
weird
elevator scenes, the weird
portal.
unnecessary B plot with Millie Bobby Brown.
Yeah,
but the
that
lighting
was
in it
really
was
well.
great.
Oh, it's-
Yeah, Ghidorah's skull with all those lights on it.
A lot of the fighting took place during the day,
Yeah.
which is really like
That was
it's a
refreshing.
flex on the VFX artist because
Yeah.
lighting CGI during the day is a lot harder
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
lighting at night.
Yeah. That was
And it
impressive.
looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Like it looked great.
For sure.
Yeah, that's the majority of my 100% positives.
All right.
Okay.
Emma, scene or like a line delivery or some sort of acting performance stood out to you, possibly?
The little girl.
Millie
Yeah.
Bobby. Oh no,
No,
the Millie Bobby. Yeah,
not Millie
No,
Bobby
not Millie
Brown.
Bobby Brown. Yeah,
The
the little girl whose name
I
don't
believed
know.
her
who's-
connection with Kong. She drove the entire character, or the human character part of the story.
Yeah.
She was the only person that I cared about.
I mean,
Well, and that's gonna be tough because like most people can't act against what was probably like a guy in a
giant-
green suit with
Yeah,
a
and
hand.
she did great.
Like and she like that did not phase this little girl at all.
No.
Like she had it.
And she didn't talk.
Yeah.
Like, that was an impressive feat, man. Props to you. I don't know your name.
Yeah,
But
she
you
was
were great.
fantastic.
But yeah.
You were
You
good.
should play 11. Whoever
Yeah,
you are.
you should play every role that Millie Bobby Brown ever
you
goes
will
Millie
for.
Bobby Brown is not a terrible actress.
Enola Holmes.
But she's...
I have my own gripes with Enola Holmes.
I'm not going to rag on an adolescent person.
That's
so
fair.
let's just skip that.
Yeah.
I thought it was very funny how every other scene, only really every scene with Millie Bobby Brown had synth music. I don't know, it was an homage to Stranger Things, or they were just like, you know what she makes me think of? 80s synth.
I'm still not used to hearing her talk.
I didn't notice that.
They
But that's
did, I
really
swear to
true.
God.
No, it's like now that you say it, I'm like, oh my god. Yeah,
Like
that is
every
true.
scene
Like they
she
just
was in.
see her and they're like 11. Can't get it's happening.
Can't get it out of my head.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me really believes that they told the screenwriter, just give Millie Bobby Brown something to do because she is going to be a selling point in this movie, but her plot, I don't think I've seen many plots that were more unnecessary
I'll
than
tell you what
hers.
though,
Yeah.
I much preferred those three characters than the like
Then the
Skarsgård.
coward guy.
Yeah.
That was
and-
a Skarsgård?
Yeah, the
didn't
guy
even
who
know
like
that.
was like planned out how to go into the Hollow Earth and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of the Skarsgård guys.
Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah, they went into the Earth is
God,
hollow.
I zoned out so
Yeah.
hard during some parts of this movie.
So they like teased it in all the other ones where like all the monsters live in the center of the Earth basically.
Oh.
Which does beg the question, which everybody's talking about, and like whatever, who cares? But also, come on, guys, like why was it sunny in the Hollow Earth? Where did that light come from? You know,
But it looked good.
yeah, like it looked what you wanted,
But also,
like Kong's
also,
habitat
why,
to look like.
Why was Kong...
Oh, here we go again.
I'm sorry, not the one. Why, when Kong was going into this Middle Earth place that you know he knows is there and knows how to get there, why every time there was something to grab onto, he looked like he was trying to pull himself up, like, no,
Yeah.
I'm falling. But
it's not easy to direct a
aiming
giant
to
monkey.
Go towards this Middle Earth area, yet you're scrapping, trying to like hang on to anything that you can.
Maybe they were saying that Kong had never been there before.
But he knew how to get there. He led them.
Yeah, they said he could lead them to it,
Yeah.
but like leading to it was like 8 feet. Like he didn't have to go very far. Like I don't know why they needed Kong to lead him there because it was just like in a tunnel. Like just go in the
some
tunnel.
idea. I mean, he found Monkey Mjolnir there.
That's true. He did act like he'd been there before.
Yeah.
But that's not. I'm not sure that's canon in the film series.
I went
up to
back
that
and
point,
watched
but-
it, and I was like, okay, so Kong is trying to get here. He knows where it is. Why does it?
Bitch.
Why does it look like he doesn't want to go?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I also heard a lot of people talk about this, and it's true that they go the first time Kong goes into Hollow Earth, they go through that weird like sci-fi portal.
Yeah.
But then that portal never comes back. When they leave Hollow Earth, when Godzilla like radioactive blasts his way to the center of the Earth, he doesn't have to blast his way through like a wormhole. Like that wormhole sequence
Just
was
specifically
cool looking
for that location.
But yeah, it never is
when
mentioned forever.
Godzilla drilled a hole through the earth with his atomic breath, I am just like, I will allow this. This is fine.
I don't allow that because it took him no time at all. Like it took him like 4.5 seconds to like atomic breath through like, and he knew like it's weird.
And that is some kind of awesome shit that I will allow.
Yeah.
How many
I'm
people
fine
do you
with
think
that.
died in this movie?
All of them.
Yeah. I mean,
Hong Kong is gone.
I think about that all the time when I see these movies like that. I thought about it with like the Zack Snyder Man of Steel.
Yeah, like how many people
think
died?
about 9/11, and that was 2 buildings. Now think about 60 buildings the size of that, and what that would do. I thought about that in the other movies, where like in the first one in 2014 they leveled San Francisco, and the second one they leveled Boston, and it's like there was like
haven't hundreds of millions of people died?
yeah, like complete like sociological, economic, like
Destruction,
huge
devastation.
amounts of devastation that comes from like entire metropolitan areas being
The
leveled.
end of the movie
and
is
like
just Kong is alive.
yeah, all everyone in this movie seems to care
Godzilla's
about
going back
is
into the
like
water.
who our favorite kaiju is. And it's
Yeah,
like,
why do they care about them so much?
I mean, I guess what else is there to care about? Like, if you're living in a world where, like, any day, because especially when they level Pensacola, no city feels safe. Because when it's just, like, Boston and San Francisco, you're like, well, I live in a pretty, like, rural area. Probably Godzilla's not going to, like, wash up on my shore and, like torch everything, right? But then, like, when he levels Pensacola, you're like, well, fuck. Like, he's coming for us next. Like, whatever. So,
oh God, what was the science guy's name? The one that was teaming up with the one that was teaming up with the little girl and
that's Skarsgård.
okay.
Yeah.
He seemed pretty excited to like put this monkey against the lizard. He was like yes, we're gonna do this. So I like to some degree these characters themselves are pretty excited to watch two monsters fight.
It's also kind of interesting that they play off the bad guy as the bad guy, and his goal is just like, hey, we need a robot.
Can we talk about
whenever one of these monsters inevitably comes to one of our metropolitan areas anymore?
Into a fucking Transformers movie. Like there's a robot Godzilla
Yeah,
that is
that's
now
like-
the ultimate boss.
That's not Robot Godzilla.
It's
That's
ultimate
Mecha Godzilla.
But he's like from the originals. Okay. Mechagodzilla is like an original character.
Well, I'm uneducated.
Yeah,
so.
he's like an old Kong. People have been rooting, or old Godzilla. People have been rooting for Mechagodzilla. I thought
Okay.
Again, he looked pretty friggin' sweet to me.
Here's my question about the ending, since you were asking me, do you know who won? And you said Godzilla won. But if Godzilla beat Kong, but then Mechagodzilla beat Godzilla, but then King Kong beat Mechagodzilla.
They beat him together, though.
No, they didn't, though, because is it Mega or Mecha?
Mecha.
Mechagodzilla was about to kill Godzilla, so technically Godzilla lost.
Yeah.
And then King Kong saved
Came in with the snipe.
and came and killed him. So who wins?
Who's
I
really
think
the king?
I think that's a message. I think that's a resolution
That's-
there.
Well, I
They're
mean,
both
that's
equal, and we don't
that's like-
know anymore.
That's the classic like Star Wars scenario. Anakin beats Dooku. Dooku beats Obi-Wan, but Obi-Wan beats Anakin. It's
Yeah.
whatever the plot needs.
Your
so
college
then who's
is-
more powerful? You can't answer that either.
If you're a college football fan and you're listening, this is exactly how UCF won the national championship, because UCF didn't get to go to the playoffs, but they beat Alabama in the regular season, and then Alabama in the playoffs won the national championship. So UCF declared themselves national championship,
I got vaccinated.
and that's it.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
It hurt.
Yeah,
I know,
congratulations.
thank you.
Thursday.
I'm tomorrow.
Anyway, so we'll go with. I'll talk about kind of move that into a writing moment I did like, and that was it is this stuff with Millie Bobby Brown and Brian Tyree Henry and that little kid from Hunt for the Wilder People, and also Deadpool 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say Deadpool.
And Ricky Baker.
Yeah, Ricky Baker, and that I think that we've established in this monster universe that they're not good with making the human characters like important or serious. And so having a group of human characters that are really just there to in no way aid anything but to act as hype men for the monsters and to give us exposition. They could walk in and look at it and be like, oh, that's Ghidorah's head that they're using to psychically power Mechagodzilla, which they have no way of knowing that's true. They just say it off the cuff. But that to me is probably your best place for human characters is funny exposition and commentary. And to me, that really worked for this movie because, I've seen all the other ones and didn't like the serious human characters, with motivations or plans that, inevitably fall apart because the monsters are 10 steps ahead and also insanely powerful. So just having human characters that are, funny exposition is exactly what they should have been doing all along and probably should be doing going forward and cut this human characters that are trying to be serious.
Yeah.
I don't know why,
That's
but the
what we were
line
saying
"doors
earlier.
hate us" really got to me.
The what?
It was such a stupid line where Ricky Baker said, "Of course the door doesn't work. Doors hate us."
Yeah.
That's so dumb, and I couldn't stop laughing at it. Maybe it's because I just needed a reason to smile.
Yeah, that's what it is if we're going to try to take these movies seriously, and there are Godzilla movies that things are taken seriously and you have serious characters and that work, but those are not made by American people. We just fundamentally misunderstand the idea of a force of nature who is destructive and destroys everything and we can't control it. And that is what
your
these
human
movies...
character can't be driving. It can't be fighting against the monster. They have to be fighting against other things on the ground.
Well, we're just surviving or trying to
something that you told me last night before we could get into it because we were saving it for this podcast that you fundamentally disagree with. But I think it would have been great if there were just at least worth experimenting with if there were no humans at all. Just let it be be these two forces of nature navigating day-to-day life.
A full-length.
That's
fine though. Make it some kind of fake nature documentary thing.
Money.
I
think that would be great. See, the part where Kong was just experimenting with zero gravity with no where he was just kind of doing his own thing, I was fine with that. And I'm I would like to just discover this stuff with Kong without humans. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but
I don't know. I mean, I think
probably everything would have been cooler without the humans.
Look, people would like that. There are definitely a lot of people that would like that, right? But it's not me because I'm a writer and I like dialogue, and so inherently a silent movie about Kong. I didn't like WALL-E, right? And a lot of people like WALL-E.
What?
But yeah, I know.
You didn't like WALL-E?
I didn't like WALL-E. Yeah, which is another thing. When I could get into that,
we're supposed to be taken seriously on this thing, Alex. How are people supposed to take us seriously?
If you want me to give my WALL-E thoughts,
I don't.
Comment below, and I'll tell you why I didn't like WALL-E. And I get it. I get that people like WALL-E.
You like Brick. Brick barely has any dialogue.
What are you talking about? It's all dialogue.
It is all dialogue.
Brick is the exact opposite
It's
of
very
WALL-E.
quiet. Brick is a very quiet movie.
Deliver the lines quietly. It doesn't mean that there's no dialogue.
Well, you wouldn't know anything about quiet talking, would you?
I know.
What about
Tristan's
that
hurt.
silent? What about the short film in the beginning of Toy Story?
Which one?
The chess.
Yeah, I like them as short
dialogue
films.
in that.
I like silent films as short films, and I like The Artist. If you ever saw The Artist.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, I wrote a whole paper on The
I
Artist.
love that movie.
I'll send it to you sometime.
Please.
Yeah, if I can find it.
So
I
good.
got a good grade on that paper.
Well, go on about the dialogue.
I did Molly the night afterwards.
Nice.
Yeah. Anyway. That was I finished my artist paper and then I dropped Molly. That was a good day. One of my faves.
That's great.
Anyway, what is the question, Tristan?
I don't even remember now. I think it was
something about the dialogue.
Yeah, you like dialogue because you're a writer, so you wouldn't like a movie like that.
I wouldn't like that.
What about a short film called Wally, Pop, and Molly?
That would be fun. I think.
Stop talking about WALL-E.
Yeah. But I get bored with that stuff when it's like real, I don't know, kind of Like that, like Kong like going through his day and discovering things in the island, and every now and then he has to fight a monster, and like maybe he's helping some people.
I probably would only watch that for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think I would like that, but I think that it would be different. Like, it's a different way to do it. But I think that probably
I think it's worth experimenting with.
like the original kaiju movies were like a reaction to the atomic bomb in Japan, and this idea of this like, you know, horrific, uncontrollable, and random incident that could happen to a town, and like they like kind of were exploring that idea in the same way that we had like the atomic era movies like Them and stuff, because we were constantly afraid, and we have all these sci-fi movies about, you know, the Russians infiltrating, or what is the movie where they look like humans but they're not? Invasion of the Body Snatchers, right? Like movies like that were like about in the 60s that were like about America's fear of like Russians infiltrating us. The Godzilla movies in Japan were about the Japanese fear of another atomic attack, and like we're kind of a reaction to that, which is why, you know, this sort of force of nature and how humans just survive and interact and what they think going forward. And like that's really an interesting concept to be playing with.
When you put like Kong and Godzilla together, you kind of have to mesh their worlds, because Kong, the whole story doesn't exist without humans. Like, it doesn't exist without, what's her name?
Oh, yeah. Who's not
Rose
been in the...
or something?
Yeah, who's not been in the MonsterVerse.
No, and I love that story. I love those films because
Like the original
that,
King Kong story?
Yeah, of the personal relationship and that battle with learning what Kong's nature is, whether he's good or bad, and bringing him into modern day America. That's
Where
such
beauty kills the beast.
Yeah, that's such a wonderful story. And Godzilla is such a wonderful story about the destruction and terror of something that's so massive and so uncontrollable that you just have to deal with the destruction and devastation that's rained upon you. And that's a great movie where you just watch the groundwork of people and what their experiences are, what they're losing, what they're dealing with, all of that emotion. But you put these two things together and they kind of cancel each other out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're fundamentally different. They're both characters that are built on metaphor, and we were like, what if we just dropped all of the metaphor nonsense and had them punch each other?
And then it's not fun to watch
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. And that's kind of what I was leading off at the beginning, is that everybody says, well, it's not supposed to be any of those things. It's supposed to be a giant monkey just fighting a giant lizard. But
That's not a good
neither
movie.
of those characters are based on that. Like, Godzilla was never supposed to be just a giant lizard who fights things, and Kong was never supposed to be a giant monkey who fights things. They were both supposed to be like elaborate metaphors. And in a lot of ways, this entire MonsterVerse, but this movie in particular, strips them both of those
all of that
deeper metaphors behind those characters, and they become just
and they try to fill those voids
fighting
with
machines.
group of tag teamed groups of weird characters and tropey characters, and it just feels
Yeah.
so artificial and
Like a cash grab.
yeah.
I mean,
And it was, and it's working. So who are we to judge?
And I mean, we can't. I don't think we can. There is no reviewing this kind of film. There's reviewing what it means and what surrounds it and what could be different. But like, this sucked.
they can never fully readapt the original King Kong story with this King Kong because he is half the
No.
size of the Empire State Building.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
so much bigger.
Falling off
Yeah.
the Empire State Building would inconvenience him at best.
Yeah. But
True.
if he were that size, the size that King Kong is in that movie, then Godzilla
I didn't
would
even
destroy.
fucking notice that.
Which they mention. They say it in this movie, like really briefly. They have a throwaway line with like Kong's gotten a lot bigger because in the Kong Skull Island movie, he was the size of Kong in the old movies because it was supposed to be. But like then I guess they realized we want Kong to fight Godzilla, but if he is the size that Kong is supposed to be, I mean, Godzilla could just like toss him.
just like step on him.
And so they had to size him up.
Huh.
But anyway, we can lead this into, which I assume we have plenty of, but maybe pick the specific example you were annoyed most of from a directorial standpoint, Tristan.
I was like, see, throughout the entire movie, I thought, this might just be a Tristan movie.
Sure.
It might just be a movie that was mindless fun, and I could shut my brain off for a while. And then he grabbed Monkey Mjolnir and put it in the hole to unlock things, and I'm like, that's where I can't suspend my disbelief anymore.
Yeah.
I know it's shocking that I made it that far without suspending my disbelief, but the moment that he was like, it became sci-fi magic and not like animalistic instincts.
Yeah.
I was pretty much done at that point. It that annoyed me to no end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did you have a particular acting performance?
I mean, no one had
or
any...
I guess something if you could play a character in this movie and try to save it by doing a better job playing one of the characters, which character would you play and how would you save it?
I would be the villain.
You would be
What
the
was his name?
I don't know.
I don't
The
remember.
like stereotypical evil scientist.
I
Well, it
would
doesn't
make
matter.
him
He
so
gets
much
fucked,
more
like-
menacing.
Yeah.
He's just not.
Yeah, because inherently what his goal was to help humans from the giant monsters that were constantly killing them.
You could have
which
made
is-
it so much more complex, and it
Yeah.
was just so cheesy.
Yeah.
It's just so cheesy. Oh, yeah. I mean, that and then anything I enjoyed with acting was just, it didn't.
Well, that seems
just
to be
didn't.
the thing these days. Do you want to go, like, all these movies are trying to go right to Thanos. They're trying to get right to the
Yes.
big bad whose motivations make sense and have all this build-up without actually doing any of the work, the build-up, or, like, really adding some humanity to
I mean,
them.
like, to be truthful,
They,
like, I
like-
would never have watched this had we not done it for this.
I watched
It's not something I want to
I
go.
watched it before we decided we were doing the podcast on this.
I would have never watched it.
I watched
Because I know this is exactly what it's
Yeah.
going to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch that.
I watched all the other ones. I was like, I want to learn about Godzilla and like that whole like history of that character. And I knew that what I should do is go watch the old good ones.
Yes.
But then I was like, well, there's this new one coming out, so
It's
I'm
going to
gonna
be
watch.
a cash grab, and that's about it.
I'm gonna watch all the other ones. But like, I like some of the Marvel movies, and so I thought maybe.
I think differently of those. Though.
Yeah.
I feel like when
You
we
could
talked
be a
about
cash
Marvel
grab
all
in
the
a
time,
brilliant movie.
Marvel has development, and they have they balance everything out really well, and they're
They have a keen eye for fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's ultimately where like this movie falls flat is like they still sometimes take themselves maybe too seriously. And maybe that's where like us as three movie reviewers and three people that are interested in making movies differ from where some of other people want in the same way that we didn't like Justice League is that like I think if you're going to do something stupid, you may as well make it fun. But some people like a little bit of serious in their stupidness. And like to me, it always rings like false and cheesy. But like
the Spider-Man movies that have been coming out. Those are a perfect example of what I think is a good way to do the fun and serious and like.
If you say so.
I do.
Well, Tristan's got his own thing,
Spider-Man.
but yeah, I do
I guess
too.
I just
mean,
love
I think that
Spider-Man.
Marvel in general does a very good job blending.
I love Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
Spider-Man, I am obsessed with
I
Spider-Man.
know you are.
I just MCU Spider-Man is not.
The newer one.
He's not really doing it for me. That's all.
Oh, that's so sad.
It's okay. I like them as movies.
I
I just don't
love
think they're good
them.
Spider-Man movies.
That's like a whole other day.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't mean to go. I didn't mean to like.
Yeah.
It's
No,
okay.
no.
We talked about Alex
I
going
know.
on Molly after
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So.
That's fine.
We
No, we can.
commented on that.
Yeah, we can talk about your Spider-Man opinions. And there'll be another when we do movies are deep
Oh,
on
when
Spider-Man
Spider-Man
3.
comes out.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god, I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
then we can.
I am excited for that.
Yeah,
I can't stop myself from being
I just
excited.
love Spider-Man. Spider-Man is my favorite comic book character ever in my
Same.
life. So I'm very excited.
No, it's gonna be fun.
I like all the Spider-Man.
We'll be favorable on that, almost for sure.
Sorry.
Maybe not me.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that's really where these kind of newer, like they blend the both, and it makes when you're trying to be serious, it makes me at least notice like stupid stuff more.
Yeah.
Right. So like I'm sure that I could go through any Marvel movie and find points in which they like left some sort of like plot hole or some stupid this doesn't make any sense, but I don't notice them in the theaters. But all I could think about in this movie, talking about things I read anything I don't like, was like the structural integrity of various buildings and ships differed depending on what they wanted to do at any given time.
True.
So like when they're fighting on
noticed
the
that.
boats, sometimes when they step on the boats explode, and sometimes when they step on those boats, the boats are used as platforms to fight on. It was the same thing as Hong Kong. Sometimes they run into a building and the building explodes, and sometimes they use Kong uses the building to like swing himself around on. And like if you're trying to be a serious movie, I'm gonna notice those things. If you just have like people doing fun stuff, I'm not gonna notice them. I don't notice. I'm sure that there's dumb stuff like that in all the Marvel movies, and I don't notice it. But I notice it in these movies because they're trying.
Because there's nothing else to focus
They're
on.
trying to be real. They're trying to be grounded, and like don't make Godzilla vs. Kong in any way grounded. Like stop. And don't do it with Superman and Batman either. Don't make them grounded. Stop. Like, and that to me, I'm also annoyed if you've watched the MonsterVerse movies that every time Godzilla has ever shown up on screen, some jet we'll shoot rockets at him. And it has never worked. And they've had Kong destroy, or Godzilla destroy, 10 cities, and every time, even when they think he's a good guy, it's just some guy's well, there's Kong, let's greet him with the ceremonial barrage of rockets. It's so dumb, and every time now, it's in the first movie, fine, I get it. You may as well try shooting rockets.
You're fuck, rockets!
But in the third movie, when you know he's coming and you're on these boats and you have Kong and you know he might show up and then he shows up and you just shoot 12 rockets at him, I'm guys,
don't those cost a lot
they're
of money?
$1 million. They're just wasting rockets. They know they don't work. It's so frustrating to me. That stuff frustrates me in this movie so much.
I love
because I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing rockets being shot at Godzilla. Please, if you're making the next Godzilla movie, because I know they're making another one because this movie made so much money, do not shoot rockets at Godzilla. Stop. I'm begging you. All right. Also, I'm sorry, I have one more gripe. One more gripe about this movie, and then I'm done nitpicking Godzilla vs. Kong.
No, let us
on
not
camera,
be done. Let us not be done.
Yeah. So, I hate, there's so much exposition in this movie, but the thing that is the main concept of the movie, that is Godzilla vs. Kong, that gives zero exposition on, is just here's, Godzilla exists and Kong exists, and we know that they hate each other. We just know it. We know that they're gonna fight the minute
It's an
we see
alpha.
them.
It's
And
an alpha thing.
I hate that for those
the
characters.
Titans. There has to be one.
I know. I like those characters.
Their alpha sense
And,
was tingling.
I have friends that are don't even invite me. If this other person is going to be at this party, don't invite me to that party. And I hate those guys, and I hate that's who Godzilla and Kong are in this movie. They're we can't even be in the same room together. If I fucking see that guy, I'm going to kill him.
I'm going to fucking kill him.
I hate that for my friends, and so I definitely hate it for some characters that I like on screen. I just wish that they had at least some complexity. Other than
wish
just
they could get
dude,
along.
yeah, I do. I don't think that they should,
Maybe, you know what? I'll watch the next one if it's them teaming up.
Right.
That
Core
would be fucking
concept,
cool.
Because that's all this movie ever was. It was all
And
about...
yes, we know they did team up in this movie.
I know.
They teamed up.
And, it was
But
all
keep doing
and that's
that.
all they wanted to do. So don't name it Godzilla vs. Kong. Don't have them fight. Don't just be they hate each other, get over it. That's what it is. It's no. Please, at least give me something. Explore some kind of complex relationship where their families never got along.
Yeah.
Make them
Something
Romeo
in
and
the past.
Juliet. I don't care. Just don't do this thing where they were no, they just hate each other. Get over it. They hate
Two
each other.
titans, both alike in dignity.
Yeah.
In fair Tokyo, where we lay our scene.
That
From
would be
ancient grudge, breaking a mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal lines of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed alphas.
That would be so good.
Something.
Let's work on that movie.
You just came back from Shakespeare Abridged.
I know, it's running in my head.
Let's do that
Let's do
movie.
Shakespearean, Kong, and Godzilla.
Instead of Godzilla vs. Kong, can it be Godzilla x Kong?
Ooh. Warner Brothers, contact us.
Yeah.
At the email below.
I'm willing to write that. It's going to take me 3.5 years, but I'm willing to work on it.
I'm already out of notes.
Yeah.
There is not a lot to unpack in this movie.
All right, I'm not gonna lie. I watched 10 full minutes of the movie. I had it on,
Yeah.
and I was looking at it.
Yeah.
But I watched consciously probably 10 minutes. It
Yeah.
was so hard to keep my attention because
Yeah.
I was okay,
I
explosions,
mean, okay,
fighting,
that's worth
explosions,
mentioning.
fighting.
Do you think that we would have enjoyed this movie at least a little bit more if we got to see it in theaters on the big
Yes,
screen?
absolutely. Because I have no choice but to look at it and
I-
watch it.
I really put in the effort to watch it. Not like
You're a better
you didn't have
man
to,
than I am.
Which is, I mean, I don't I guess I'm the type of person that I can't not do that with movies.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to check out.
I think this is a hard movie to watch alone.
Yeah.
I think it's really fun to watch this kind of stuff with friends because you get to yell at the screen. I probably would have enjoyed it a lot more had I been with you guys watching it.
Yeah.
And we could just talk shit and yell at the movie.
I would not have shut up in the middle of this movie. But
See, we need just certain movies we need to actually watch together.
yeah.
Because watching this alone was just super hard, especially when I had work to do. It was fuck, I could be doing something else, but I have to be watching this right now. That's my review.
All right, so
Sorry.
we can jump to ratings, I think.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So a little reminder, because we're still only 3 on these, what the ratings are. You have a Tristan movie, which is something that may not be technically sound, but is fun in either a nostalgic way or exciting way. You have an Emma movie, which, although may have flaws, like some thing about that movie is so perfect, so crisp, so well executed that you could ignore pretty much anything in that movie because of how amazing one component is of it. So if you give it that, you have to say what the component is. An Alex movie would be something that's technically proficient. Maybe he's gonna get nominated for some award or whatever, but it's just kind of boring. And people don't want to watch it multiple times because it's kind of a drag or kind of difficult to get through. And then you have a Sarah movie, which is not very good at all movie, but perhaps saved by some good-looking people. And then you have to say
or
what
a
the fan fiction.
CGI monster.
Yeah. Spoiler alert to what's coming up. And you have to no, you're good. Yeah, and you do have to give which we also already teased what your fan fiction would be on this. So start with Tristan.
Well, the problem is, like you say that a Sarah movie is a movie that's just bad. That's just bad. But people are fuckable in this, and I was not attracted to anyone in this movie. And you had a good answer for that.
I did, but you have to give your rating.
You just said that Tristan movie.
What?
He said he considered it being a Tristan movie.
It was almost a Tristan movie where I thought it was
same.
enough close to being
Almost.
just mindless fun, and I was going to give it that. And then it got too stupid, went on for too long, and then the flask thing happened where they solved all the problem by that is not how the flask should have come back into play.
I like that. That was fine.
But yeah, this is a Sarah movie. It's a Sarah movie.
Right.
You told me that it's because
I did. I said because I texted Tristan privately.
Wow.
And I said,
thanks.
He told me he was watching it. Mm-hmm. And and he said I would say a Tristan movie or I would say a Sarah movie, but I don't know who is fuckable in this movie. And I said
King Kong.
that the reason that you say that is because the cowards over at Warner Brothers wouldn't give Kong his dick. Like they have all those scenes where he's just straight on, and you know where it's supposed to be. You know where it's supposed to be, and they don't do it, and they need to just put it in there, Dr. Manhattan style. One thing Zack Snyder got right in his whole life was just to put that thing in there, and they should have done it with Kong, and then this would have been an easy question, but they didn't do it. They made him a eunuch. And, no wonder Kong was so angry. Maybe Godzilla took his dick. That's where their battle.
Is that your fan fiction?
No. I mean...
So it's a Sarah movie for me.
Yeah.
It's a Sarah
I think
movie.
it's a Sarah movie for all of us.
I have my fan fiction.
Yeah, who's your fan fiction?
My fan fiction is Millie Bobby Brown's dad
Yeah.
and the evil guy.
Yeah.
And he's holding his daughter hostage, and he's like, there's one thing you could do to get and save her, but you have to come with me. And they fall in love.
Yeah.
Because
That's a solid movie because they both work for an evil kaiju corporation. Yeah.
Yeah, they're both kind of in the same age range.
Yeah.
They could work.
There you go.
That's my fan
I
fiction.
do. There's a lot of young people in this movie. It makes that question really hard because everybody is underage. You can't really.
I took the old people, baby.
Those are the only two characters who are legally allowed to be sleeping with each other. You could find something with the Brian Tyree Henry character and maybe the Asian twink who controls Mecha Godzilla. Mm-hmm. So that's it. Godzilla vs. Kong. Flame us in the comments for not liking it because this movie is making a ton of money and everybody loves it. And tell us that, hey, it's just supposed to be about a giant lizard punching a giant monkey and you guys should get on board with that and not be so critical. And fuck you if you say that.
Yeah.
Well, bye, guys.
See you around.
See you next time.